Hey everybody, this is Trey Simmons, and today I'm just going to be walking you guys through my User CRUD assignment. We're going to take a look at the website and what it does, and then take a short look at the code behind it and talk about some interesting things there. Basically, this site is just going to allow users to log in, view a profile that has some stats like height, weight, target weight. The inspiration for this is a workout planner, so those would be interesting stats to keep track of if you're interested in fitness or anything like that. We're also going to be able to create new users and delete these users. So that's pretty much what we got in store. If we look at the database real quick, we're going to see that all my users are basically just superhero information and me up top. But basically, each user has a unique ID. That's the primary key for the table. They have a unique username and password. The password is set by the user, concatenated with the user salt, and which is randomly generated upon account creation. And then they're encoded using the MD5 hash. The user full name is stored here in the array or in the database for use in the profile, as are the stats for each, for their height, their weight, and their target weight. So we'll go ahead and let's log in under Captain America. If I can get my mouse to work. So if we log in, you see over here, the full name from the database is displayed. Welcome back, Steve Rogers. The username is displayed, as are the height, weight, and target weight attributes that are stored in the database. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have a small edit profile form where we can change information about him. At one point, Captain America dies and Bucky Barnes takes over. And if we edit this profile, you can see on the screen that Bucky Barnes is the new Captain America for this account. And in our database, if you look at number 2, his full name has now changed from Steve Rogers to Bucky Barnes. We can do the same thing for these stats over here. You can do them individually or all at once, but Bucky was just a little bit taller, so we'll make him a couple inches bigger, edit that profile, and there you go, Bucky Barnes is now 75 inches tall. Alright, so we can go ahead and log out for that kid and take a look at the sign up functionality. We'll just input a name. Let's create one for the Hulk. So Bruce Banner. And his username will be Hulk. And his password will be Smash. That's a good password. All these fields are required, so if I didn't put in a user height, weight, or target weight, the HTML5 form will be like, hey, you need to do this. So we'll make him, 6'5", 6'6". Weight, well, he's probably a good 250 at least. Well, let's make him 300. He's a big old guy. And he wants to lose a couple pounds. We'll sign him up, and we're automatically taken to Bruce Banner's new profile. And his username is displayed here, his stats, the edit functionality is all the same. And now, if we look in the database, where we've already changed Bucky Barnes, we should now have a new row called Hulk. And you can see that number 11, Hulk, his password has been hashed with the MD5. Full name is displayed, and his stats have also been created, as has a randomly generated salt. So that's your creation. We can also delete Bruce Banner just as quickly as he came. It logs you out into your session information and deletes your account. It takes you back to the login page, and if we look at our database, number 11 Hulk will go bye-bye when we refresh. There he goes. So that's our User CRUD. If we sign in again, we'll just sign in as me this time. And there's me. We also have a handy-dandy logout feature. Anyway, that's the site. So let's take a look at the code real quick. The index, that's just my controller. We check to make sure there's a username and a password, or a first name and a last name. And we just do a little bit of formatting on each of those, the same thing. Make sure it's all lowercase, trim the white end off, or the white space off the ends of the query phrase. Set the content page to this home forms view, which will just be these two forms. And that comes into play down here when we use our view class to create our display page. And if we look at that, we're just doing basically what we did the last time, inserting a template name and a data value if we want one, and then including that file. So we've included this forms on the home page, and I do want to point out something really cool that I liked that I didn't know about. This input button right here represents this submit button, this sign in button. And I don't know if you can see it over here, but this submit button down here, home sign up button, represents this little sign up button. And you can actually do a handy thing when this form is posted, because of this method right here. The post variable will actually look at and create an array element that has a key of sign in button or home sign up button, and we'll include that once the button is clicked. And using that, we can actually specify, what we want to do based on what is clicked. So up here, you can see when we look at our sign in button functionality, if this key exists, if there is a post sign in button array element, meaning that button has been clicked, and when this posted, that element is there, we're going to check to make sure it's a valid username, get that user information, and then if that user information is returned by the database from the model class, we're going to create a session for that user, get their stats, and change the screen to their profile. And then obviously unset that, so the next time we come back to this page, we can make sure there's not a post variable like that. And that way we can kind of instigate some event type actions for button clicks and stuff like that. Anyway, so that's how we get to the sign in using that form. Our other screens are going to be the profile screen, which just takes information from that session variable, either the user info or the user stats, which is drawn when the user logs in, and they're just going to plug them in. They're obviously going to scrub the values and such, sanitize the HTML output, but they're just going to plug that into the profile like we saw earlier, and the edit forms right here as well, so that can be accessed. And again, the buttons for edit profile and delete button are named here so that we can go back and select later on if I can find it. Anyway, somewhere there's some code that says if delete user button is clicked, then we'll delete the form. So if we check out the model, we have our function for registering users. When the sign up button is clicked, it'll just take all of our information that we put in and then execute a query to add that to the database. So we have our profile, which will update everything based on what's input into that edit profile form, and then our delete user function, which is called to delete the matching user ID from the site user database. It then destroys the session, unsets the session variables, and then exits this operation to relocate us back to this login screen. So that's pretty much it. Over here we have our sign up form that we looked at earlier in our CSS, and that's that project in a nutshell. So I thought it was an interesting assignment. I'm picking up a little bit more as we go, getting a little bit more proficient at it, but it was kind of a big operation. But it's really interesting to see how all this stuff that really seems complex and hard to do in real life situations can be implemented pretty easily, and it's pretty straightforward to do so. But anyway, good luck with your assignments, and y'all have a good day.